Salvete omnes, I'm Amelia, also known as TheMartianGeek, and welcome to a new adventure. This time we're playing a game that probably not too many people have heard of. This is actually a DOS game, Return to Kroz. And yes, the fact that the title includes Return implies that it isn't the first in a series. This is actually the fourth game of 7. And if you're wondering why I'm starting here and not, say, the first one, well, from what I've played at least, the later games in the series are definitely a bit better quality than the earlier ones. Also, this was the first one I ever played, as well as the only one with which I actually have a little bit of a history. My family once had this computer. This would have been probably the late 90s or so at the time, and this thing was old and outdated even for the time, but it had some games on it that I used to enjoy playing as a kid, one of which was Return to Kroz. And I actually even managed to get to the final level, despite only being about 8 at the time. Apparently I was hardcore back then. But I want to emphasize 2, not past. There was one little nuance to the last level in the game that I never quite figured out. But then, much more recently, I rediscovered the series and decided to try playing all 7 of them. So I guess that's what I'm here to share with you guys. We can look at the instructions if we want, but I'm not going to ruminate on them too much because I'd rather explain the game by showing, not telling. Oh, yes, and there were some settings at the beginning there, as you may have seen. I don't think any of them are really that important. Of course I want color and not monochrome. I don't know if the slow or fast PC setting makes any difference when you're emulating this game because, of course, being a DOS game, it doesn't exactly run natively on Windows 7. And as far as the difficulty select goes, yes, I technically picked easy mode, but honestly, it doesn't really matter that much, because this is one of those games where all the difficulty selection really does, or all the difficulty options really do, is affect what you start with. Like, you know how some games will give you more or fewer lives, depending on difficulty? Well, this game just gives you more or fewer resources, and there's really no reason not to choose the option that gives you the most stuff to start with, so I'm sure I could beat the game on the harder difficulties, but there's just not really any point in doing so, I guess. Also, as far as the pronunciation goes, I'm not actually sure if it should be pronounced with a long or short O, Kroz versus Kroz, but the one time I ever heard it spoken aloud, the person did use a long O sound, so that's what I'm going with. With that, let's begin our descent into Kroz. This is a kind of interesting game. It's a little bit action-adventure-y, a bit roguelike-ish, I suppose. But in any case, we start off with level 1, and, of course, we have some very primitive graphics. The diamond things there are gems, and gems are actually your HP in this game. The red umlaut A things are monsters. They always move toward you, and because they're red, they do 1 unit of damage. Later on, we'll see other colors that do more damage to you, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The player character is this little yellow rectangle here, and you actually have 8-way movement in this game. You use the numpad to move around by default, and you can move in all 4 cardinal and diagonal directions, and I shouldn't have scrolled through that, because every time you touch a new thing, it always tells you a little bit about it. I think that said gems give you both points and strength. Also, whatever you do, do not touch that corner there, because that's one of the more unwelcome aspects of this game. Also, this is a door, and of course, to pass it, we need a key. Well, the thing is, in this game, there can be invisible traps, some of which can actually make the level completely impossible to beat. Yeah, that seems fair, doesn't it? Well, it's things like that prevent me from liking the series too much. But this one's easy enough to avoid if you know it's coming. This is a gold nugget. It just gives us 500 points, so pretty useless for me since I'm not actually playing for score. And these purple arrows are teleport scrolls. They'll teleport you to a random location in the level, provided it's not taken up by something else, like a monster, an item, or a wall. And of course, these things are just solid walls. A solid wall blocks your way, see? And this blue stuff is water. It makes a different sound effect and gives you a different message, but it basically just acts like a solid wall. I think later on, there are certain things that affect walls that don't affect water. But I don't think there's anything in this game that makes that kind of distinction. And again, I forgot to show the message, but those white things are whips. Your whip is really your only consistent weapon in this game. Also, yes, invisible walls. We'll be seeing quite a few of those in this game. It's kind of irritating. This red square, red rectangle with the yellow C on it is a chest, and that's actually the best possible outcome I could have gotten. 9 gems and 3 whips. You always get 2 or 3 whips from them, I believe. But the number of gems you get depends on difficulty. Since I'm playing on Novice, I believe you can get up to 9 gems. And I got a couple more gems over here. Ah, dang it, monster. See, it helps to watch when the monsters move, and that was careless. Also, electrified wall around the border. It actually takes off points from you if you touch it. See if I can lure some of these guys out of the way. No, I cannot, apparently. And, if you haven't figured it out already, these kind of brown hashed type walls are crumbled walls. And they can be destroyed with whips. Also, we want this blue F because that's a freeze creature spell, and it will make all enemies stop any movement. At least for a period of time. The problem with crumbled walls is... Oh yes, and here's another invisible thing. Oh no, new walls have magically appeared, so we're actually trapped in here, but we needed to come in here because this red eye with the carrot on it is actually a key, and we need that to get through the doors, of course. But, yeah, use keys to unlock doors. And this dot here is a teleport trap. It basically acts like our teleport scrolls, except we don't have to use it ourselves. Also, we kind of want to hurry here before the freeze creature spell wears off, if possible. Take the time to get around the monsters as quickly as we can. Now, the problem with crumbled walls and using whips to shatter them, or to get by them in any case, is it's not consistent. It's somewhat randomized. Like, oh, you found an ancient tablet with writing on it. Huge points. Like, for instance, sometimes you'll be up against 3 potential crumbled walls that you could shatter, and you won't shatter any of them, and you'll go through another weapon, it still won't shatter any of them. But sometimes you'll get 1 or even 2 or all 3 right off the bat. It's quite annoying that way, actually. Now, tablets, I think, just give you points in this game. In at least one of the later games, they actually did stuff in the level, but it just tells us to experiment with every new object on a level. Open this other door. Just tank the hits from these monsters. And that was a revealed gem scroll, as the message tells us. Revealed gem scrolls can be nice, but the one problem with them is they are almost... Gee, thanks a lot, teleport scroll. Of all the places in the level I could have ended up. But the problem with revealed gem scrolls is they're almost always right at the end of the level, right before the exit. So, it's not... I'm going to go ahead and make use of the scroll, since this is only level 1, and there aren't too many obstacles to get around. But in later levels, for instance, there will be traps that spawn more monsters, or make more crumbled walls to get in your way, or any number of things that make it really quite a pain to go back through the level to get the gems that just spawned. So, also luring these monsters a bit downwards so that I can go up and get these gems. And then out of the hole so I can get back to where I was before. Also, these two are... I always seem to have a problem getting past them without getting hit, but I seem to have done okay this time. But anyway, yeah, our goal is these gray rectangles with the horizontal flashing black lines on them. These are stairs, and as you can see, they take you to the next lower level. So we've beaten level 1, and now we're on level 2. And it's our first randomly generated level. Joy. Yeah, there are a bunch of levels in this game that are actually randomly generated within a given set of parameters, like how many of each type of enemy and item there'll be, and I don't like them. But this first one's not so bad. Or this first one's not so bad, but later on they'll get worse. Oh boy, they will get worse. But anyway, it's here. and we have to deal with it. Also, we actually get to find out that monsters, if they run it... Oh, that's... Sometimes things will appear as question marks, and you don't know what they are until you touch them. Unfortunately, sometimes they can be bad things like, oh no, you set off an earthquake trap, which dumps a bunch of extra crumbled walls all over the level. But there are some cases where that can actually be a good thing, because monsters, if they run into crumbled walls, will actually destroy them. Well, they'll destroy the wall, and the monster itself will get destroyed, so that can be a nice way to avoid having to defeat the monsters by using whips, because that's another thing whips can do. They'll kill any monster you come across instantly. Also, that interesting looking symbol was a slow creature spell. That isn't as good as a freeze creature spell, but it does make the enemies move slowly, or more slowly. So, at least they start moving slower once they've already moved. I'm just going to collect the rest of the treasure here if I can. Not bothering with those golden nuggets. Let's just move on to level 3. Something I've noticed about the third level in Kroz games is, for some reason, they seem to be oddly more difficult than you would expect from a level at that point in the game. Like, I can't think of any that are, like, super hard or anything, just harder than you would think level 3 would be. Like, probably harder than some of the next couple levels afterward. Also, we start out completely enclosed by crumbled walls, and here's another good example of what I mentioned. There were 8 monsters surrounding us, as well as 8 walls, and we managed to get all the monsters to destroy both themselves and the walls. How convenient. Let's see if I can lure these monsters out of here so I can get those gems. And so that I can have a safer route over to the gem and stuff over to the left there. Wait, why is the one not following me? I think there are actually some cases where there will be invisible tiles that act like walls to monsters, but not you. That'll disappear once you touch them. So, oh hey, I actually lured the green guy into suiciding on the wall. Didn't mean to do that, but it's convenient. Also, I'd like to go in here for this chest. And you see that letter Z over there. Oh, I only got 3 gems that time. You also see the letters K, R, and O in the upper left of the level. If you get those in order, K, R, O, Z, to spell Kroz, you actually get a 10,000 point bonus. But I'm not really going to be going for the Kroz letters too much in this game. If they're easy enough to get in a particular level, I'll go ahead and do it, but I'm not going out of my way because all they get you is points, and as I mentioned before, I'm not playing for points. Also, this invisible tile here actually makes those walls get destroyed. Which can be useful because, as you can see, there's a door blocking the exit. You triggered a secret area. Yes, I have. But as you can see, there's a door blocking the exit, and normally we'd have to have a key to get through there. But now I can get through there without having to use up a key. So I could either completely skip the key, or I could get the key anyway, and then just have a spare. Spare keys can be pretty useful in this game. So I'm going to go ahead and get the key anyway. Oh hey, another slow creature spell. Dare I go over here and get these 4 gems? Yes, I dare. But not the door, even though I wouldn't have a key to open it anyway. Also, let's go ahead and go over here and get this teleport scroll. Also, I'm going to take some hits here because this item I really want to have. That little white circle there. Dramatic flashing sequence, and increase whip power ring. Yes, you can actually increase the power of your whips in this game, which is useful because then it takes fewer hits to destroy, or then you're more likely to destroy crumbled walls. Also, this corridor right here is my least favorite part of level 3 because there are so darn many green enemies in the way, and it's actually kind of a pain to get around them, or to avoid them. In fact, that would probably be the best use of the slow creature spell. So these green things here are actually blindness potions. They make you completely invisible, which is as annoying as it sounds. So I went ahead and got those just to show off what they do, but Yeah, blindness potions can be annoying, especially if you're surrounded by enemies. Here, it's pretty safe, because I can just wait it out until the effects wear off. But you can't always do that. Well, why is that monster not wanting to chase me? Yeah, see what I mean about it being annoying to get around these guys? Also, gonna go ahead and lure these guys into the wall. Come here. You know you wanna. Come on. Also, I'm not going for those two chests up there because those are blue enemies, and they deal 3 units of damage to you, and it's absolutely not worth going after those. Not getting this chest and tablet over here. I know there are whips blocking the walls, but chances are, well, if the random number generator doesn't cooperate, I'll probably end up using more whips than I would gain. So I'm not gonna even bother. I may have to show off what that tablet says in an extra video or something like that, but for now, I'm just gonna skip it. Also, if I really wanted to, I could go back and get that Z, but I don't feel like trekking back through the entire rest of the level. So I'm just going to take these 5 gems worth of damage from these guys and go ahead and exit. We're now down to 65 gems and 36 whips, with 9 teleports and 1 key in level 4. And it's another randomly generated level. Also, the one nice thing about these is you actually do have a save feature in this game, and you can save anytime you want, though it'll only ever restore your progress from the start of a level, so you can't save halfway through a level and expect to continue from where you left off. But you can make as many save files as you want, as long as you save the files in question on the hard drive. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that because it spawned me kind of far away from the exit, and my favorite way of dealing with most of the randomly generated levels is basically just save scumming them. Like, see, now I'm fairly close to the exit, but there are also some green enemies in the way that I'd rather not have to deal with, so... More save scumming. Yeah, I know I don't like using save states in games, but hey, I'm using the game's built-in save feature this time. Also, this arrangement seems reasonable enough. If I can get a couple more things here. See, it's nice when you can get and spawn next to one of those slow enemy moving items as well. But anyway, that was a level, I suppose. We're now on level 5, but I think this would be a good place to call it. So, we've made some progress into the game. I'll admit one thing about the Kroz series is it's really not a series of games that I would expect to like. There's nothing about it that would stand out as, hey, this looks like something I'd want to play. But, I suppose, whatever. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.